Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Ango. We got 4 news stories in this video. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click subscribe. I'm testing out some new formats and trying some different stuff, but I promise you there won't be any crazy cuts or zoom ins on this video. I am not Kevin Dunn. If you know, you know. If you guys want more videos like this too, by the way, don't forget, click subscribe. It really does help me out, and I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, I want to kick things off. I want to talk about Pat Buck. Just a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it on this channel. Pat Buck had left WWE, and nobody really knew what the hell was going to happen next. Now, in the next move for Pat Buck, it appears that Pat Buck is now working as a producer for AEW. Yeah, so he went from producing at WrestleMania 38 to producing for AEW Dynamite. The reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is because it's actually a great opportunity for Pat Buck. If you guys don't know Pat Buck and what he's done before WWE, he was very instrumental in training other wrestlers. And a lot of people credit Pat Buck for his production, his skills and stuff when producing matches for WWE. And I hope AEW takes advantage of that, more specifically their women's division, because I do feel like they just need a little bit more oomph to take it to the next level. And I'm starting to see a lot of progression in that area for AEW. But yes, it is true. Pat Buck is now working for AEW, at least according to Mike Johnson from PW Insider. It appears that he was actually in attendance the week prior, and then yesterday was when he started working for AEW. So yeah, it's just a strange scenario just going from WrestleMania to AEW. But ultimately, I mean, you guys got to think too, I see a lot of people with mixed reactions. WWE schedule, you're traveling every single week, several times a week. Like, you're never really home. You don't really get the same opportunity. Whereas AEW, for the most part, you're traveling once a week to the job. You know what I mean? I think it's a pretty no-brainer for somebody who's a producer, especially somebody who just loves wrestling so much. And I would assume that if you love wrestling that much and you can have a really good paying job and one that makes you feel secure, and you don't have to be, back and forth between cities every single day, I think that's a win. So yeah, we'll see if Pat Buck contributes anything great to the AEW product. Obviously, we'll know in the long run as we continue to watch, but I do hope it leads to something better, and hopefully he kind of helps take a little bit of control of that women's division, because there is a lot of possibilities there, and I think it just takes a little bit more time and a little bit more help to get it over the finish line. With that being said, I do want to talk about Rey Fenix. As you guys know, Rey Fenix is somebody that was injured a few months ago, and at this point, it's been a really interesting thing to happen for AEW, because Rey Fenix being injured has allowed Penta to become Penta Oscuro, and I've just said it so many times. I think Penta could be a really big star as a singles guy. I thought his work in Lucha Underground was incredible, and I thought his work in Impact was incredible. And while I am absolutely a huge fan of the Lucha Bros, I really think it would be cool to see Rey Fenix also go on a singles role. That doesn't appear to be the case. Dave Meltzer actually mentioned on the Wrestling Observer that Fenix stated in a recent interview that he will be returning to action at an upcoming AAA show. And if that's the case, obviously it appears that AEW will be able to bring him back as well. Now, the real question here is, what are they going to do with Rey Fenix when he returns? I think Rey Fenix is a very great talent, but it is also very important to me as a wrestling fan that they do something with the Lucha Bros in some capacity, and they don't just, go into obscurity. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Lucha Bros obviously have a lot of potential on the AEW roster. I just think as a fan, I would love to see them go their own separate route and see what happens. But that doesn't appear to be the case just yet. But yes, Rey Fenix is expected to come back soon from injury, and that is great news. All right, guys, you may have watched AEW Dynamite, and you may have noticed that the baddie section is starting to take over to AEW. Now, for some reason, this is not getting a big reaction. This is not really getting fans talking on social media. A lot of people aren't talking about it, which I don't know why. But the baddie section has 2 new members, and that is Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan. Now, I don't know whose idea it is to bring Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan into the baddie section, but it appears that there may be a new faction with Jade Cargill, Mark Sterling, and Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan. Now, if that is the case, I am 100% all in on this idea. First of all, when you look at the women's division, there isn't any factions in the women's division. And secondly, Jade Cargill is the TBS champion. So if I'm going to play fantasy booker for just a moment, the way I envision this going down, which I think would be absolutely incredible, would be for Jade Cargill to not take Marina Shafir serious whatsoever. And then when she has that TBS championship match, you allow Marina Shafir to really do big things, have her put on a showcase, like really give her her chance to show everybody why she's there. And then as the heels, the baddie section gets involved, and now you unveil the new faction. That's the way I see it going down. That's the way I think it needs to go down. Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet need something prominent to do on television. Again, this is another example of Tony Khan signing somebody to his roster and not using them, but then later on finally having plans. And I'm all for it. I'm all supportive of it. I don't know why people they don't care about this. Maybe this is very much a WWE type of thing, but I think you need some of that in your product. Also, Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet have been really, really good talents, and I just don't feel like they've really been given the opportunity to showcase what they can do. This is going to be a very solid act for AEW, and I think they are going to have something really special here, and I'm really excited to see how that goes. All right, guys, you may have seen the debut of the giant 7'3" Satnam Singh. And this is drawing a negative reaction everywhere. And for some reason, I am one of the few people on the internet who absolutely love this. And it's absolutely wild to me that people really don't like this. And I understand some of the argument. You know, I was on Twitter and I was talking to people, and some people have mentioned, hey, you don't do the lights on, lights off gimmick for someone the crowd doesn't know. That I agree with. The execution of the debut was not good. But the idea here of bringing in Satnam Singh, somebody who is 7'3", trained at the Nightmare Factory, not a lot of people relatively know who he is. That is the right way this is the right scenario to bring him in. To bring him in, you know, with Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, Samoa Joe, it makes a lot of sense. Now, for those who aren't aware of what happened on AEW Dynamite, Satnam Singh debuted. Satnam Singh was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. It was announced months and maybe even a year ago that he signed with AEW. He's been seen backstage. He's been training with Cody and QT Marshall. And basically what has happened here is that AEW decided to make this move because of the pending Warner Media Discovery merger. Now, there is really interesting. Meltzer came out and basically said AEW programs on the Discovery-owned Eurosport India channel. And this was a deal that Tony Khan reportedly made based on this merger, basically in order to dominate the Indian market. Now, this is where fans really need to understand Tony Khan is a businessman. And yes, I know you want your indie wrestlers, and I know you want Cesaro, and I know you want some of these other people that you're more familiar with. And while I do agree the lights on, the lights off thing was absolutely dumb, you need to start bringing in talent people aren't familiar with. You need to start developing your own stars. You need to create big moments that aren't shock factors because they came from WWE. And I actually support this 1000%. I am team, let it play out. I look forward to seeing what they do here with Satnam Singh. This is a great opportunity for him to work with veterans. And whether it's a business move or not, it doesn't really matter. It's wrestling. And, you know, WWE did the same thing with Jinder. Jinder Mahal won the championship. And, you know, it was a business move, but also it was a move as a reward, you know, for training hard and working hard. And I thought Jinder Mahal as WWE champion was awesome. A lot of people hate me for that. I don't really care. I'm all for this. I look forward to seeing what AEW does next. And good stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'll see you next time. Peace.